So last week was interesting. Many of you know I'm in the middle of a book launch right now and super excited about it. And the feedback on it has been fantastic and great. And we have someone on our staff who actually has been coordinating the entire launch of this book, all of the marketing and everything else involved, right? And it's a massive project. And we've been talking about it, and every week we check in, and she's been telling me she's been learning and growing, and she's enjoying it, and so on and so forth. And then last week she quit, no notice, didn't tell anyone, just sent an email letter resigning effective immediately. Now, we're not here to talk about that, but we are here to talk about what do you do in those circumstances? What, as a leader, do you do in those circumstances? Because we have options in that moment. Okay. We're in the middle of a book launch, we're in the middle of several other important things. And this person had, outside of the book launch, other major important roles within the company. So, what do you do? Well, option number one, which most of us would do, is after the freak out, we would dive back in, right? We would dive in and get our hands dirty and say, okay, well, they're leaving. I got to pick up the slack because we know how important what we're doing right now is and how what we're doing right now can't afford to fail. And so it's super important. We've got to go do it. And so we jump back in. We jump back in, and often when we jump back in, we are more like a bull in a china shop than help to our team. Because if you were leading and delegating correctly and you weren't involved and you were just setting vision, then they were figuring out how to get from point A to point vision. And in that process, they were making decisions that you don't even understand and know yet. But now you're wanting to jump in and take back over control. And now everyone else around is like, what in the world is going on? It's the natural response, though, isn't it? Because this is our baby. This is our thing. At the end of the day, it's our business. And so why wouldn't I jump back in? And as I was facing this, that was actually the advice that someone gave me. And I said, and I said to them, I have to figure out the path here without violating the case method and without violating everything that we've built in the company so far. And their advice to me was, well, in this situation, you're not violating the case method. If you're jumping in, you're getting the thing done. I mean, they left is what you got to do. But it is. It absolutely is violating ownership. It absolutely is. Because you see, if I've done my job correctly of laying vision and empowering this person who left, then they probably did their job correctly of passing that vision on to the team. And in the plan that they were creating, they had input from people around them who understood their parts of it and were executing their parts of it. And if I go and jump in right now and start to take control, what naturally happens with the rest of the team is they will pump the brakes. They're going to pump the brakes because they're living in a place right now where they had control and autonomy over what they were doing because they understood the system that they were working in with the person who left. Now that person is gone and you've come in with we I'm here to help and get this thing done, and all of a sudden they've got to ask that question, what changed? They've got to ask the question, what's going on? And that's going to cause them to pump the brakes. It's going to cause them to pump the brakes. Instead, consider the other side. Consider the other side. In this case, that person had a manager. Okay. And so the manager now, and my conversation was, all right, what do we know about what they were creating and the state of where things are and what everyone is working on? And is where we are and what we're doing going to get us to the goal that we were working to get to? Now, if you didn't have this manager, like I do in this case, you would have this conversation with the team. Okay, tell me, where are you? What's the plan? And you now see the vision that they were given from the leader that departed. You see that? So you know where you want to go. And it's easy for you to come in and just dictate everything. But that's not the role here. The role here is to pause and gather and have conversations and see what they see and understand what they understand and what they are doing and where it will take you. Because what you may learn right there is really ain't anything to do. What you might learn right there is, oh no, there is something to do. And here's the hidden thing. Here's the hidden thing that you also can learn in this moment. You see, because so often when people leave, we freak out, right? I have proven it time and time again in my own company and seen it in so many other people's companies. In that moment, there is somebody else ready to step up. And so while you're there thinking, "Oh my gosh, they left. I've got to go take over everything and do their whole job," there was somebody else just as capable, ready to step up. And instead of empowering them, you told them, put the brakes on, and you disempowered them. You disempowered them. Now, you might still get to your outcome. You might still get to your end goal. You may still be successful, but you'll be successful at the cost of what? You'll be successful at the cost of yourself and the sacrifices that you have to make to go back in and get the work done and the stress that it puts on you. And you will be successful at the cost of your team. You'll be successful at the cost of your team taking ownership of what they're doing and actually being willing to run and get the job done without you, which is what the goal was initially. The goal doesn't change because someone left. You have to find a way to achieve that same goal. Okay? The thing that happens is we conflate the actual goal. So we say, well, this project, the goal is here. Well, no. That's not the only goal. The goal, too, is that you're not involved. You're trying to get to that place because it increases the level of freedom you have within your company. So why would you go backwards? It's the natural thing to do. That's why you would do it. But it's not the correct thing to do. It's not the correct thing to do. So, the next time you're faced with this moment, and this moment looks different in every organization, and it doesn't have to be someone quitting. It could be lots of different things that force you to feel like I've got to jump back in. Stop for a moment and reconsider because it's the wrong answer. Stop for a moment and reconsider. Ask yourself, does the team actually have this? Is there someone waiting in the wings to step up? How can I cast vision better so that they see it better and so that they can get it done? That's your job. That's your job. Cast the vision, ask the questions, and be vulnerable. That's your job.